huruf of the Quran are not known. I mean, the soundest thing of the huruf is Allahu A'lam. Allah knows what they mean. But Yasin, of all of them, Yasin is the one that most of the ulama actually do interpret. The other ones, they tend to say, I mean, some say Alif Lam Mim. Alif is for Allah, Lam is for Jibreel, Mim is for Muhammad, and that's Allah to Jibreel to Muhammad. I mean, you get these types of tafsirs that they say. But generally, we don't know. Taha, Alif Lam Ra, Allahu A'lam. But I would say one of the most intriguing for me aspects of the Muqta'at is it's almost like Allah is saying, before you even think about reading this book, set aside what you think you know. Because if you come to this book with arrogance, there's nothing in this book for you. Like the student who came to the sheikh and he was saying, I studied with so-and-so these hadiths, and I studied with so-and-so this book, and I studied with so-and-so this book, and I studied with so-and-so this book. And he was going on and on and on. The sheikh was, and so what do you want to do? He said, I want to study with you. And so the sheikh started pouring the tea, and then when the glass got full, it just kept going over. And the student said, stop, it's full. He said, why? And he said, because it can't take any more. And he said, so a full cup can't take any more. He said, right. He said, well, you seem like a full cup. What are you coming to me to learn for? So the Alif Lam Mim is, have some humility when you come to this book. Now, another aspect is Saussure, for people who know linguistics or people who study linguistics. Saussure, who was a famous linguist, about 100 years ago, developed a theory of language, which is where we get structuralism from. Structuralism, the idea that languages have these deep structures, and he identifies language as being related to differences, that language is not about definition so much as it is about the differences of things in relation to other things. So there's these structures, and if you work out the semantic patterns, you can understand language. One of the things Saussure says, though, is the phoneme is meaningless. That's a principle in structuralism, that all of language begins with doubled phonemes. You need a dyad to begin, like of. You need those two sounds. Doesn't really mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. That was Saussure's theory. This negates that theory because it's meaning all the way down. Even the letters have meanings. We just don't know what they mean. Everything is meaningful. Nothing is without meaning. These letters are amazing. And the Arabic letters are amazing. Ayn is an amazing letter. Ayn. I mean, you have to say it, Ayn. And it's like squeezing and Ayn means essence. It's the essence of something. It means the eye. Right? That's an amazing thing. Look at Lam. Lam is an amazing letter. Lam. Have you ever seen babies when they put their tongue, mothers know this, they always put their tongue, newborns, you know how they put their tongue on the top of their mouth? And they do that. Do you know how they do that? Am I making this up? They all do it. All babies do that. That's the beginning of La ilaha illallah, because that was what we were created to say. And so they're learning how to use that tongue to say the Lam letter. You know what lulan means in Greek? Lulan? It means to soothe. Because the most soothing sound to the Greeks was la la la, which is why we say lullabies. La ilaha illallah. Why is that? Why is that recognized even by the ancient Greeks? That sound, la 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 la. You have to teach, no, it's not la la, it's la ilaha illallah. It's much nicer. It has meaning, and it'll soothe your heart. Really, it's amazing. So these are amazing things. Ra is an amazing letter. I love Ra. And the Arabs call it harfu takrir, which is the letter that does rrr, that's what takrir means. But then they say, but it's named that so that you don't do right? So Moroccans, when they recite Quran, they always do the but if you go to the East, they don't do that, right? But the ra sound, if you look at Arabic, letters usually relate to pulling something along, like marra, farra, karra, right? It's amazing because the right, marra, marrat, it keeps happening over and over again. Karra, to flee, farra, to flee, karra, to go back. So it has the idea of something being dragged. Yajurru, jarra, to drag, literally. That's what jarra means. And then lam and ra are related. They're from the same makhraj. Say la. Now say ra. Right? Do you feel the articulation? That's called a makhraj. Ra, la. Right? And that's why ra and la are often interchangeable in the Arabic language, in words. You can actually interchange lam and ra in words and you'll get the same meaning. It's amazing. So the huruf and muqatta'at are these secrets that Allah doesn't tell us what they mean, but we know they have meaning. So we say Allahu A'lam. But Yasin, if you take the word insan and you turn it into a diminutive, which is called a tasghir in grammar. A diminutive is like pepito in Spanish, right? Pepito, little peppy. Right? So we don't, in English, we don't really, we say little, peppy. We don't say pepito. So our diminutives aren't very sophisticated. But in Arabic, you have diminutives where you can say insan, and if you want to say little man, you say unaysin. Unaysin. And ya means oh. And then the Arabs like to do this thing which they call hadf, which is to cut things out that they just sound long or... So unaysin is too long to say little man. So they just say sin to mean little man. Or big man, because tasghir is used for ta'zim also. So it's a nice thing about Arabic. The Arabs have wonderful strategies for insulting people, and then when the person gets insulted, they can always switch and say, I didn't mean that. It's really interesting. There's so many devices in the Arabic language to do that. And one of them is tasghir. Because you can call a man tasghir for tahqir, to like belittle him, but you can also call it to exalt him because it's a term of endearment. Oh, my little one. And it's a term of... So you can, if you call a man, you little man, and he's, what? How dare you call me little? No, I meant that. I love you. So that's what Ibn Abbas said that meant. And he said it was in Lughat Tay and in a riwayah in Syrianiya that it meant man in Syrianiya, seen. So Yasin is how it begins. Now some say that, generally there's what they call idhar. You have idgham and idhar and tajweed. Idgham is when you assimilate a word into another word, like with the huruf al-idgham, yarmalun. So you say sirajan wahaja. That's idgham. Some say that the sin gets assimilated into the following wow, and others say that it's idhar, which would be unusual because the noon is a letter of assimilation. But there are points in that. Kalla bal rana ala qulubihim is an example of lam, which would normally have an idgham there. It has idhar in that surah. But in Warsh you don't. There's idgham. So you say kalla bal rana ala qulubihim in Warsh, riwayat Warsh. There's idgham. In the other there's idhar. So some of them say it goes Yasin wal Quran, like that, into that. And others say no, you stop on Yasin and do that. And then it has the med on